great Hannibal Lecter. Uh, Most famous from Silence of the Lambs, played by Brian Cox and Sir Anthony Hopkins. Let's review his 1981 classic Red Dragon, first published in the UK/England, 1982. It was written by Thomas Harris, uh, and it hosts 54 chapters of horror. Let's look at the positives. They are the character arc of reluctant hero is done well. In Will Graham, his reluctantism being linked to his family and past with cannibal Hannibal Lecter, and reporter Freddie Lowndes, who's an asshole. I don't like him, and you shouldn't. He's a reporter for the Tadler before he gets burned alive. Spoiler. The only character I'll wait to talk about until this section is over is Chilton. You'll see why. Now, Dr. Hannibal Lecter, psychiatrist and psychopath himself. He's quite good in this, and I'd say Manhunter, the film, which is adapted from this masterpiece, is more accurate than Anthony Hopkins, because Anthony Hopkins, it's not a bad thing that he did this, but it's more campy, so it's less accurate, but funner. And it's just inaccurate, and it's my opinion, so don't be harsh about it. Before I get to the bio, I'll say the Red Dragon, the titular killer, also known as the Tooth Fairy Francis Dolarhyde, his descent into madness. It's a decent depiction of abuse and mental illness, and a cleft palate, and it's also a good representation of, how do I say this on YouTube? Stab, stab, bang, bang, which, if you don't know what that means, I'll write it for you, so that I don't get in trouble with YouTube. Just take a minute. This is what I meant by stab, stab, bang, bang. Sexual murder. That's the best way to put it. So that I can get ads, I suppose. Anyway, I'd say it's a good depiction, especially for 1981 being like the same year as The Omen 3. I also admire the blind person representation in Frances Dolarhyde's obsession and love interest. The only part I didn't like about her character was the detail of a tiger's balls. It felt very Stephen King-ish when Stephen King was high. Now for the bad. The thing I find bad about it is the character of Chilton. In Silence of the Lambs, he's an asshole. There's nothing to like about him, and that's when it's the most enjoyable to read, when his dynamic with Clarice Starling. But we'll get to that in a later video if you want. So that's why, just because he can't shine as much, that's why he's not as good in this book, but he is in a later book. So that's what I will say about him. My other complaint is the ending. It feels like it tags on a little bit. If Thomas Harris just drafted the ending one more time, condensed it instead of having one fake-out ending and a real ending, combined them into one, combining psychological and action like he did in Silence of the Lambs, I'd feel this book would be just as good as Silence of the Lambs, and the films, thus the Red Dragon could have got Oscars just like Silence of the Lambs. But besides that, nothing too negative about the book. It's a great start, introduction for this world and Hannibal Lecter in general. Great character, good written. I'd say, on if I was doing it, yeah, let's do that. So, just quickly doing this, let's do a little tier list. The Hannibal the Canon of Thomas Harris's Hannibal series, going from S to what's at the bottom. So there we go. S being the top, A being middle, C being middle, like A's the top middle, C's the bottom middle, and F being the worst. So Red Dragon, I'd put it in A. Because if not for the faults I've listed, then it would be a top tier, one of the best horror novels I've read. Well, thriller, since it's a thriller and a horror. But yeah, A tier on the Thomas Harris Hannibal Lecter books. So I've got 3 other books to rank and review. There's also the films to compare and the TV show, so there's a lot to get through. But Hannibal Lecter is a very endearing and good character, even though he's a murderer. And it is really just, yeah, the screen adaptations they're great, but if not for the book, they wouldn't be half as good. And I can see a bit of inspiration in the character of Dexter between Hannibal Lecter. I see it. So yeah, this is good. Please like if you want, subscribe if you want, leave comments if you want. Positive, please. Or I can handle negative feedback, but no bullying. I don't tolerate that. And finally, all of those things I mentioned to do, it's optional. You don't have to feel obliged to do them. And my next video will be on Silence of the Lambs, which I'll show you my copy of now. So here you've got Silence of the Lambs, which I'll have a look at. You've got the Dead Head's Mouth, which, before I go, I'll talk about the cover design of these 2 books. They go together nicely, like they contrast to the nice red and blue. They're those colours that you like to see together. Now let's see, which one would I say I prefer? This one, I'd say I prefer because I'm a sucker for devil and Satan imagery. Also, blue and red, they go nicely together. However, this one, it feels a bit ugly because red, yellow, and black. Yellow and black go nicely, but red and yellow and black don't go nicely. But the skull imagery and how it shows what the book's about, that's good. And final thing I'll say with, you know how you can tell this book's good? On the back here, look. It says Stephen King's said, the best popular novel published since The Godfather, Stephen King. So you know it's good. Tell me if you want me to look at any other horror books like Stephen King, because he's my favourite author. Thomas Harris's might be my second, depending on how he ends the series. Because the problem is, if he ends the series poorly, we'll see if I still like him. But that's all from me. I have a feeling Silence of the Lambs is probably going to be an S, but you never know. Reading it, I might prefer the film, and after I've reviewed other books, I might compare the film and books. With Red Dragon, that'd be tricky. Should I compare just one film or both of them?